Because we're in a culture now, not like when I was growing up. There weren't a lot of options. I remember the days, guys, where you turn on your TV and you might have 4 channels you can watch. And the only baseball was Saturday afternoon, or there for a while, Monday night baseball. That was it. Before the advent of cable, that was it. And I remember watching playoff baseball in the afternoons. You know, the American League, National League series would be going on at the same time. One would be at night, one would be in the afternoon. It was awesome. They'll never do that now because ratings. It's all about advertising. It's all about ratings, which means equal out to dollars. And I'll tell you, the dollars right now, if baseball were on TV, out of sight. And I don't know why the owners don't recognize. Again, it's not, I don't think, the revenue coming in that is an issue. That will happen. Not as much because we're not going to play 162 games. What I think the owners are trying to do is weed out the mid-tier player to do away with those $8 to $10 million contracts. You're going to have more $3 to $4 million contracts if you have a $30 million contract. And you're not going to have as many of those. But your middling player, your middling pitcher, is going to have a really tough time making a living playing baseball professionally, in my opinion, in the years to come. Take a look at your fantasy rosters. There are people on there who I don't think in 5 years will be in the major leagues because someone will come in who can play at a much lesser price. And that's where we're going. This is what COVID has helped create, in my opinion. We got a caller right now. I can't wait to hear this one because I'm kind of going off. And it's great to hear from my great friend from Long Island, Lenny. Good morning, Lenny.
Yeah, Lenny from Long Island here. Okay, let's talk football. What do you think?
Hey,
okay.
Anything beats what we're talking because we're talking about nothing, right? I mean, you know.
No, are you kidding me? To me, these are the greatest shows ever because we're talking. We're conversationalists instead of just making a list of players. So, we're talking about philosophy, about, unfortunately, I don't have a brain, so I'm at a little disadvantage than most. But, so here's the deal. If the NFL, I don't get this, man. Everybody's saying, we got to get done with the season. We got to get done with the season because the COVID virus is coming back. But nobody is talking about what this is going to do to the NFL. Are they going to be playing without fans in the stands? It's not even being talked about. And certainly the way the NFL plays. I mean, look, right? In baseball, you can't even scratch your crotch, right?
Right.
You're not allowed to. You can't high five. You can't pat somebody on the backside. You can't do that. You got to be 6 feet away. How are they implement that in football, Arnie?
Well, the thing is, Lenny, in football, they're going to be tackling. I mean, that's the number one event that happens in football. You're blocking. You've got constant...
Yeah, and by the way, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that means you need to be touching somebody.
Well, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. And then think about the football itself. How many hands might that football touch in one play? Okay, we know the center's going to hike the ball to the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
We know the quarterback is either going to hand the ball off to a running back or he's going to throw a pass to someone.
Right.
So you're involving at least 3 people every time. And then after the play is dead, the ball's going to be picked up by a referee. It's going to be underhanded tossed to another referee who's going to spot it. So every play, minimum, is going to have 5 different individuals touching the ball.
And does everything have to be in a shotgun? I mean, is the quarterback still going to have his hands under the butt of the center? I mean, come on, man. I don't get it. And here's something else. Now think about this. I never brought this up. In baseball history, you've watched many games, right?
Oh, yeah.
We have a base hit to center field. off the pitcher's glove, off the shortstop's glove, takes 50 bounces, the center fielder picks it up, he throws on one bounce to the shortstop as the cutoff man, and the cutoff man throws to home plate. Okay? You got that?
Got it.
And the ball stays in play.
Right.
Yet, how many times a pitcher throws a ball, hits the dirt before it hits the catcher, and what does the catcher do? He gives it to the umpire to change balls.
That's what, I mean, that's
right?
exactly
We've
right.
seen that. He throws a pitch, it lands, it hits the dirt, and the umpire changes the ball because it's scuffed. Yet the ball was just touched by 50 players, the whole thing, and they let that ball in play. Explain that.
It's beyond ridiculous to me. And the thing is, you're right. NFL, they're going to play. Here's what's going to happen. NFL's going to play. NFL's, in my opinion, going to have fans. They may be limited, but I think there'll be people in the stands by the time we get to an NFL season. And not even talked about. Not even an issue right now. Whereas baseball is making mountains out of every molehill. And and it's and I think, and I heard you, and I listened with a lot of interest this morning, and criticize me, it's okay. Criticize you, it's okay. We're just saying what as you say, we're having a conversation. But these owners, it's about money. It's about money.
Of course.
And it's about money. And they have been looking a platform to not spend money, and COVID, unfortunately, has given it to them. It has given them a platform, and they are standing on it with pride. And so, I'm very disheartened. And then the other thing, you just heard me, and I heard you this morning. I don't believe half of what I read on Twitter about baseball because I can't. One day that supposedly the commissioner is saying 100% guarantee we're going to play. And in a few days, I'm not so sure about that. Well,
I'll leave you with one last thing, and you can tell me this, and then I'm going to hang up and listen to you on my car radio. Unfortunately, I'm not in the car, but still. Runner gets a single. He's on first base, right? How does the first baseman hold the runner on? 6 feet away?
Exactly. And he's got to tag him with his glove if there's a throw over.
Yeah, how does he hold them on? How do you hold on the runner on first? Arnie, I will leave you with that because you may be the only man in America capable of answering it. So I love you dearly. Great job.
Hey, thanks. Okay. Thanks for calling, and thank you for this morning. Great job this morning. Thank you. That's Lenny. That's Lenny from Long Island, the legend himself, calling in. I'm honored, Lenny, that you would call, and it is. It's such a conglomerated mess. It's like silly string, and you're trying to put it back in the can, right? That's the kind of situation that we have right now with Major League Baseball. And I'm looking at Twitter as we speak. This is what I love to do. I love to just look at what's going on with Twitter, and I'm getting off of our site so I can go and take a gander look, okay? I'm looking at different things on my Twitter page, and I see some things here about college football, okay? I see an article by Jeff Passan from overnight. Major League Baseball believed it had an agreement in place. The players do not believe the same. News at ESPN on another agreement that wasn't. That's just it. There's not an agreement. And I'm just scrolling down. Jim Bowden, an hour ago, talks about the best compromise. Well, hey, Bowden's saying more games. I've just said more games. What's the big difference in 60 and 70? It's not that big a deal. Do it. I mean, the DH, all those things. Oh, my gosh. And just the basics of the play. I mean, I think what we've done is we've talked about third grade issues without talking about going through kindergarten first. Really. I've said this. First of all, do you have approval to play? Have all the governors signed off on you can play in New York? Have the governors of Massachusetts signed off? You can play in Massachusetts. Have the governors of California signed off? You can play in LA, San Diego, and San Francisco. Have they done that? That's kindergarten. Make sure you can play, guys. And then secondly, if that's not feasible, where are you going to play? Okay, the Dodgers, where are you going to play if you can't play in LA? Where are you going? Have you got that worked out? I mean, maybe you do. Where are the Yankees and Mets going to play if you can't play in New York? Where are you going to play? You play Staten Island? Not going to play in front of fans to start with, so you're going to play at Staten Island. You're going to play at Pawtucket. Where are you going? Scranton, Wilkes-Barre? I mean, I don't know. I don't think Tampa, Miami will have those same issues. But it takes all 30 teams to have a season. Has that been done? Again, I think we are looking at 4th grade, 5th grade questions, and we haven't even finished kindergarten yet. What are we doing about Corona? Are we going to test? How are we going to test? Has that been implemented? Has that been approved? How big of an issue is that? To me, that should be a big issue. That's why we're not allowing fans in the stands. So if it's a big enough issue that we're not allowing fans in the stands, shouldn't it be a big enough issue that we've got that resolved? And I don't see, maybe there is, okay? Because again, I see on Twitter and in the news what I am wanted to see. Not what I want to see, but what someone else wants me to see. What someone else wants me to hear. I want to know about the feasibility of playing. I want to know about the feasibility of testing. I want to know those things. Because if they say, yes, we've got that ironed out. Yes, we've got this ironed out. Now we can talk about how many games we're going to play. Now we can talk about a schedule. It just seems like we've put the cart before the proverbial horse. Manfred can issue all the statements that he wants. Heyman can report all he wants to. The bottom line is still the bottom line. We don't have a deal. We don't have a deal. So we can talk about football. We can talk about the fact that NFL doesn't seem to worry about these issues. I was reading this morning about a local university, North Carolina State, located in Raleigh, and the plans they have for their football season. But right now we've got a caller, and this is a great friend of mine from the great nation of Maryland, Jack Youngblood. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Artie. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's so great to hear from you. I was hoping by now we'd be watching some high A baseball in either Maryland or North Carolina, but it just doesn't look like the plan this year, does it, pal?
No, it doesn't. I saw a thing yesterday where the players from MLB are going to donate $1 million to the minor leaguers. So that's one positive that could come from all of this distraction that it's been awful to see.
You know, it is just it's a big mess. It could be, in my opinion, resolved. And I go back to my idea, if you got an issue, sit down and don't leave till you work it out. It's that way with any relationship. And I think it's especially that way with Major League Baseball right now. Jack, what are your thoughts on where we are? And maybe you've heard something or read something that I haven't read, but I'm basically hearing the same things over and over.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I saw on Monday they had that ESPN had that thing with the commissioners of the 6 major sports leagues, I was a little disappointed to see that Manfred wasn't confident because he promised us last Wednesday before the draft that he was 100%. You know, I think it was just bad communication between him and the really people of our country. You know, I mean, he can't even. I feel like there's times where